All right, so we're going to start with the call to order. So we're running it. Shall we do a roll call?
Yep.
And do we have to say each name now, Sarah? Is that how it works?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm here, Gay McLeod.
I'm here, David McGoldrick.
Sonia Oliver.
Here, Amy Barrel.
Okay.
Amy, are you on the road?
Yes, but I'm safely parked.
Okay. Okay. So is there any public participation? Sarah, do you know of any?
We do have somebody on the phone. If you'd like to speak, can you please hit *9?
Okay, thank you, Delene.
Yes, I'm going to unmute them.
Do
You are muted. Hello, can you hear us?
Yes, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, for the record, good evening. My name is Diane Lauricella, 21 Little Fox Lane. This is the first time I'm calling in for the newly named Urban Forestry Commission. So I think that was a great change. I am a member of the Norwalk Tree Alliance, but I'm not speaking on their behalf, of course. I'm speaking as an individual resident. I'm also a longtime environmental advocate. And so I do follow budgets, I follow land use planning, as well as the tree canopy situation. So I wanted to just briefly speak to two items on the agenda. Item 5B under the spring 2025 tree planting, especially items 1 and 2, capital citywide streetscape and grant funded tree planting. The reason I wanted to plant a seed, so to speak, tonight is because I would like to make sure that this spring and summer we set aside money and work with the Norwalk Tree Alliance, and I'm not sure Jeff is there, but I have verbally suggested this, but I will be writing to the Norwalk Tree Alliance. The time has come that this city no longer has artificial Christmas trees on both Wall Street area and the Washington Street area. So I would like to see some money set aside that there is planted a live tree that will grow quickly, is planted in a good spot, even if it's not exactly in the spot they have the artificial trees in the last few years, but that we never again use artificial trees for holiday gatherings. It is way too expensive, and for us to be the greenest city, we should be using live trees, even if they're not evergreen, but that would be preferred. Number 2, item 7, under new business, ideas for community engagement, letter C. I wanted just to suggest, and I'm sure that Sarah, Cruz, and others may also be planning this, but I haven't spoken to them, and that is that we consider for community engagement something like a bio blitz for trees, either online or in person, over the entire year, and make it exciting and have prizes. Bio blitzes often get people's minds racing, and it's also a great way to learn about trees and other biological items. And also to engage high school science students. Maybe they could help put this together. So with that, I thank you for letting me speak, and have a great evening.
Well, thank you, Diane. Sarah, do you want to, some of this stuff, you came up with some good suggestions, and some of this we've actually touched upon before, and some we're going to be thinking about during the year. But Sarah, do you want to address the planting of an evergreen, a live evergreen, or what should we do with money and everything else?
The agenda item.
I think we missed the first part of that.
Sorry. I can address that when we get to the agenda item, if you'd like.
I have a question. She said BioBlitz. I don't know what that means.
Yeah. So a BioBlitz is kind of like citizen science activity, and I can also address this when we get to community engagement.
Okay, then let's do that. That's fine.
That. Okay.
Is there anyone else to lean? Just
I can barely hear you, Sarah.
sorry.
Okay.
No, we have no one else raising their hands.
Okay. All right. So, do we want to move ahead to the acceptance of the minutes? Do I have a quorum? Yeah.
Yes.
Did everyone read through the minutes? Any feedback?
It's fine to me.
Okay, looks fine to me as well. Do we want to approve?
Yep, let's approve it.
Okay, David says approval. Anyone else?
Second the motion?
Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry.
Anyone else?
I'm sorry, what are you looking for, Gay?
Approval of the minutes? I didn't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll second it.
Okay, all right, so Amy did, and so we got David, so we have enough. Thank you. So Sarah, will you take it away with the tree planting budgets? I'm dying to hear this one.
Yes, I'll try to speak up, but let me know if it's still
Okay,
sounding really low. All right, so in terms of the budget updates and for new folks, we have two different types of accounts that are utilized for the city tree planting program, and that's our capital budgets. DPW has their own capital budget for tree planting specifically. Recreation and Parks, department I work for, has a capital budget for trees, but that account is also used for our plant healthcare. So think of the big tree at Cranberry right now that's going under some TLC and other activities. And then currently we have 3 grant accounts that are being used for tree planting. So we have the MLK Corridor Improvement Grants, as well as I suppose, grant from, it's called the GGP account, that began when the Sono collection was developed. And then we most recently in 2023 received a grant from the U.S. Forest Service with the Inflation Reduction Act funding. And that funding was just luckily put under contract. So that contract will begin this spring. So we now have 3 funding sources, 1 new, and then our capital. So to give an overview, in the MLK Corridor Grant, which needs to be spent by the end of this year, we have $14,000. So want to give a big kudos to Sonia for really helping with a lot of that funding. Peter and
No
Rick,
problem.
who was a previous member, really helped with installing a lot of trees directly on MLK Boulevard itself. So we've spent quite a bit of that, and I had this spreadsheet up. We also were able to install 8 tree pits and then 8 corresponding new trees in the spring of 2025. And then in the fall, we installed 5 new tree pits on Ellie Avenue in South Norwalk with 5 additional trees. So those are 13 new locations that never would have been able to accommodate trees in the past. So we've really run through that funding. That 14,000 allows us to perhaps plant, oh gosh, let's say 15 to 20 trees in the spring. In the GGP account, which is only to be spent in the Sono area, there's a remaining $8,000. Our average cost per tree is $1,100 or $1,000 per tree. So let's say that's 8 to 10 trees. Our capital DPW account has $30,000 remaining. So that money can be spent citywide, and that is basically our only funding source that is available for the rest of the city.
And how much was that again?
$30,000.
So that $30,000 includes tree requests?
Tree requests, yeah. So, Gay, we can figure between 30 to 50 trees this spring, depending on the types.
Okay,
And then this new funding, or newly contracted funding from the Forest Service, we are starting with a contract value at $455,000. And so we have a ton of funding there. However, that money can only be spent in certain census tracts. So there are, I think, 5 neighborhoods, and they include South Norwalk, Hospital Hill, East Norwalk, I think Spring Hill. I can show a map of that at our next meeting where I'm hoping to give kind of a better overview. But that funding is now available, which is great.
and how much is that funding for again?
$455,000
Mm,
to
too
be
bad.
spent by 2029.
Okay, and so that's South Norwalk,
East Norwalk,
Spring Hawk, East Norwalk, okay. Got it.
Spring Hill. What was the other one?
I believe Woodward, but I just want to check with some of the updates to the federal contracts and these environmental justice tracks. I just want to make sure I have the areas correct now.
Okay, do you mind just sort of recapping this and shooting us all an email so we have all the numbers and exact locations so then we can, yeah, map it out? Okay, thank you.
And I was going to suggest at the April meeting, I can literally have a map.
Yes, thank you. I'm scribbling it
It's
down. Okay,
getting
terrific.
more and more confusing.
Okay, all right.
So I just wanted to also mention that we have, and I sent you all the flyer for this program, this Green Workforce Development Program. I just want to mention that 100 trees will be planted this spring as part of that program. So when it comes to our total tree count for the year or for the fiscal year, that will be added on top. But that's kind of a separate project, separate funding. But just wanted to mention that.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it in terms of budget.
Okay, okay, that's enough. So old business, I've already been elected. Was that, do we need to make that official or?
Can I do the report on spring 2025 tree planting, Gay?
Yeah, oh, yes.
Sorry. Okay. So for the capital streetscape planting, like I said, that remaining $30,000 would allow for 30 to 50 trees planted this spring.
Mhm.
I know adopt a tree requests are third on this list, but I am looking to address tree requests as a priority. And Gay, I already have like 10 emails that are either carryovers from the fall
Yes,
or newly requested trees.
okay,
So that's kind of my thought process.
okay.
We
I have a number two that's coming in also. So why don't you just forward them to me? I'll use the same application and the same thing we've been doing. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Okay,
and for everyone here, the Adopt a Tree program is where we can plant on private property, but it must be a street facing yard in some way, so a front yard or a side yard, as a way to get more trees on private property in areas, especially where there's no place within the right of way to be able to plant. And so these are places where people request trees. We sometimes are met with some hesitation or pushback when we are planting within the right of way. So that's especially gay. Why I was like, let's try to address the folks that actually requested it first this spring. And then when we have funding refresh for the fall, we can focus on other areas.
right.
And-
So maybe I can give a little bit of a tutorial to David and Amy to kind of get them in the loop with what's going on. If they have neighbors or anything like that or friends, we'll do that in a separate, can I do a separate meeting with them, a phone conversation? Is that allowable or?
We could do it at the April meeting. That would be 3. So that would technically be a quorum.
Oh, so I have to wait until April to do that?
Or you could do it one-on-one twice.
Oh, that works. Okay. Okay.
That'd be great. I would love to hear about that.
Okay.
Yeah, do you want to give an overview of that, Gay? Because it took many different forms. It kind of started as tree liaisons with
Oh,
that.
right, way back when. That's right. I forgot about that. All right, so I'll jump ahead 15 years or so at this stage. So what it would be is we would give information. It's found on our website that if you wish to adopt a tree and you fill out a really simple form about your contact information and your address, and some people put down what they requested for a tree, which is fine. And then it's passed on down to me. And then I would set up a time with that particular person and meet with them. And then I bring a book. It's sort of a show and tell of what the trees look like, whether it's native, it's non-native, how tall it can be, and what it looks like in the fall, the summer, and the spring. And then we go about together selecting a tree that works for their particular yard. It needs to be, as Sarah said, in the front yard, but sometimes the side yard, if it's a house that's on the side, as long as it's facing a road, because the objective is to enhance and increase the tree canopy. Keeping that in mind, we have to be careful of overhead wires. So we don't want really tall trees that will grow in a couple of years and touch the wires, because then they'll just come along and chop them off. I make sure also if there's a drain in the road, that the leaves aren't falling directly upon it. I stay away from street signs and stop signs. And sight lines, for not only being careful of the person I'm working with, them backing out of the car, but also if they're sharing a driveway with a neighbor, that they in turn have complete vision of the road. So safety first. And it can take time. It can take anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour, because people have to be comfortable about it. And I sort of guide them along the way about what a tree looks like. Some people do not know that if a tree is flowering, that it only has a certain period that it flowers, and that it turns into leaves, or attracts butterflies, or if it attracts bumblebees. So we try to just educate the public as much as we can about it. And then we select a tree. I give them the book with the color photograph of what the tree looks like. And I make sure that they stand there in front of the house so they have a very good visual of what this tree is going to look like. And then we select a site. I do that by, I carry stakes with me, and I hammer a stake into the ground. And then I take a white can of spray paint and circle around it. And then I also make a little mark down on the curb. I let them know that they do not need to be at home, that someone within the next couple of weeks will come by and dig a hole on their property, plant the tree, and put a little mulch around it. I also let them know that we have a watering program, which lasts for 2 years. They also don't need to be at home for that, and that we make sure that the tree is watered. I usually get pushback on that. And it's can I water the tree if there's a drought, or how do I know it's being watered? I don't want to lose the tree. So it's kind of a tricky situation, because we've had drought and heat waves several years in a row now. So I will give them sort of the touch, put your finger down in the soil. If it's moist, then leave it alone. If it's been a drought for, say, 4 weeks, we've had that before, and you really think the tree is dry, then I'll give them an idea of how much to water the tree. Or they'll shoot me an email. What are your thoughts about it? They'll take photographs of the soil. They'll take photographs of the tree. So, and a couple of times I've gone to take a look at the tree myself. And I've shown them how to pull out the hose and how to water the tree. So we get probably more involved with the tree planting than is necessary, but they're very happy with the city and the tree program. And so they're little sort of goodwill people for us by spreading it around the neighborhood. And often I get requests for other trees, because one person has put the tree down and they've had a positive experience with that. So that being said, I think I've covered most of it, but that's pretty much it. So when I get the requests, I usually take a look that they filled everything out, and then I will go set up the appointment, and then I send the signed application to Sarah, who keeps track of it. So we have permission that we were able to select the tree and plant the tree.
Is there any lack of applications for this? Or you have lots of applications?
Last year I had a lot of applications, and we had plenty of money last year. So I guess I'm concerned how much money we're going to have left over. Sarah always sort of reminds me, go for the more cost-effective trees in guiding them, so we keep the budget down. And I'm the one always pushing for the more expensive trees. So I'm just I keep track of the budget and just keep Sarah in the loop in case we run out of money or anything like that. So I don't know what to say to this year because the budgets are significantly less.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, we had about a year or two where we were pretty backlogged on requests. And last year, definitely with Gay's help, we were able to catch up a lot. I honestly think there's only like 40 to 50 outstanding, and we started at 200 and something when I first started with the city. So the online form has been very helpful. But what I was going to mention is with this U.S. Forest Service funding that can only be spent in certain neighborhoods, I feel like we need more targeted outreach because we have so much money there.
Right, right.
Wide.
Right. I was going to say too, how much more outreach do we have to do? And it sounds like that is definitely an area where we should be working.
Yes. And
Yeah,
that's
and imagine South Norwalk, there's not many amenity strips or grass strips to be planting in. So this program
Right.
where the committee previously developed, the ability to plant in private yards, that's a really important, that's a really big piece of where you guys fit in, obviously.
Right. And we can really emphasize how much more comfort these people might experience if there's a tree in their yard, like, cooler and everything. That'd be great. Okay.
right. I'd like to add on to that, and I'm sorry, I forgot about this, is the Tree Alliance. So the Tree Alliance, we work with Jeff is not on tonight. The Tree Alliance is a nonprofit organization. If you're not familiar with them, they receive funds as a rule, but they can plant trees in the backyard. So if I go to someone requesting a tree and there really isn't space to put a tree, I always recommend that they contact Jeff. In fact, I contact Jeff just to make sure and have him reach out to them if there's room in the backyard for the tree. So they're still able to get a complimentary tree. They just don't get the watering with the Tree Alliance, just get the tree planted. So
Right.
we really try hard to fulfill their requirement.
Cool.
I just
Okay.
had one
Um,
last thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Amy.
Oh, I was just going to say really quick. I'm sorry if I missed this. I had a little bit of an audio issue when you started. But when we make the judgment for the tree placement, do we have set guidelines for that, like set dimensional requirements, or is it just
Yes, we do. I
okay?
didn't get into the details of that. It has to be a certain number of feet from a driveway for the sight line and a number of feet from the drainage. There's a whole
Okay,
procedure
Yeah.
involved in that, but I just gave a brief explanation of
Yeah,
it.
sure,
last
yeah, got it.
fall I
Yeah.
developed standards for the first time because it was really like
Okay.
Paul and Gay and the committee that had that set up, and then Gay was yelling at me for all my rules. But I think that's a great place for the commission to be able to review that and give any input, because right now that's just an internal guide, but also how to convey that to homeowners that are like, why can't I put a tree in my yard? Like, look at it.
Right, sure.
Well, I think it was last fall maybe, or in the summer, we had that exercise at City Hall
Yeah.
that you had to figure out what tree was appropriate for which location based on the overhead lines and the site and all those things that Gabe was talking about. That was pretty useful.
I'm glad that it wasn't more tedious than
No, it was fun.
more difficult than you'd think. So yeah.
Right. And there's also a challenge, which I tend to bring up, is because of Eversource. So we have to keep in mind that when we plant these trees, it has to be, good clearance around the wires. And if it isn't, they will cut it down, which is always a trim it. And it's always a little bit of a frustration that we go through so much time, effort, and money to plant trees that might grow in a couple of years, and then they come and they sort of slice it off. So it's an ongoing concern about that. And Sarah's heard me be frustrated about this every now and then. So anyway, it's just something to keep in mind, but we can discuss more of this later.
Okay.
I tell people it's one part landscape architecture, one part engineering, and one part arboriculture.
Public
Um,
relations.
one last thing I just want to mention, Gay, is obviously when I'm looking at these numbers for just the spring and then trying to project out for the year, I mean, we have 50 in the capital budget, let's say 50 in the new grant funding, and then another 50 between the MLK corridor and the GGP account. We're trying to have this tree count goal for the year of closer to 400 to 500 trees. And I'm just trying to brainstorm how we can get there. At the April meeting, I think it would be really great to talk about some cost saving ideas. I just saw a friend of mine works in the city of Beacon in New York, and they actually have this cost share program with the nursery where the city pays for half the cost of a 15-gallon container tree. So you're
Oh.
getting at 50% the price, and that kind of encourages homeowners to be able to purchase them, which maybe they may not have it in their budget. And the city will actually deliver it, and then it's up to them to plant it.
Oh, that's nice.
So I just think it'd be good to brainstorm again. How do we get to that number when our contractual plantings are an average of $1,000 per tree, which is great because it's watering and a lot of other things. But how do we get there?
And did we have a new contract? Who did we have the contract with?
Yeah, the Inflation Reduction Act, the Forest Service grant, that was awarded to Oman's nursery and
Oh, so it's no longer Olmsted?
So Olmsted still has a contract with us for our grant funding, our capital funding. But just for that Forest Service, $455,000 that was awarded to Oman's.
Okay. Where are they located?
I believe they're in Norwalk.
Oh, Oman's in,
I think so.
I was wondering about that. Okay.
I see their trucks around all the time.
Oh, so they're on Norwalk. Okay. And are they doing the watering as well?
Yep. And in that contract is also the ability to construct new tree pits. So
Oh,
we made sure.
So was the question, where's Olmsted Tree located?
No, Oman. I didn't know that Oman was in Norwalk. I
Oh,
thought
Oman, okay.
saw it in Westport or something. I was mistaken about where it's located. It should be in Norwalk, but I was just wondering about that.
Fact check me, but I believe so.
I believe you. Okay. Okay. Do you want to add anything else on?
The very last point on there is West Ave, which Peter had brought up. So I feel like we can add that to old business at the next meeting, but he's referring to the tree advisory committee had previously discussed the medians that are adjacent to the Sono collection on West Avenue, and how could we add any either shrubs or trees there for additional cover. So we can discuss that with Peter, but I was just going to say that if the commission would like to develop a plan, now we have a second landscape architect on deck.
Yes.
If there's a proposed plan and to have some plantings there, I mean, of course, it could use more tree cover. Then we can have engineering and the folks on our urban forestry team review. And we do have funding to be able to do so. There's just some considerations with obviously clearance. That's a super busy area, and we want to make sure it looks nice because it's one of those entrances to the city just coming off of 95.
Mm-hmm.
But Gay, I'll add that to the next agenda since Peter wasn't here to speak to it.
Okay. Okay.
I'll take a breather while you.
Okay. All right. So then we'll skip over old business. We don't need to do that. Correct.
The election. You have a quorum if you'd like to do
Well, it's fine. It's fine. We're doing it. So should we go on to new business?
that. Up to you.
Yes, let's go on to new business. City projects.
Okay.
I did see that you sent along the diagrams and the blueprints and elevations for Richards Avenue roundabout and the Sono School roundabout. So the concern I have about this, and I attended that meeting, I was at early last fall before I guess we sort of shut down. And Mr. Jim Travis gave the presentation. I had a brief conversation with him about it, that our committee, at that time it was the tree committee, it wasn't the commission, wanted to set up a time with him to come in and speak to us, because if we could have some input about the selection of the trees along Richards Avenue, and it's going to be completely redone, and Cedar Street, and of course the roundabout and what they're going to put in the center. So seeing the diagram, I knew that there's a green area there. I don't have any other details aside from that. But I wanted to know, are we going to put native plants? Are we going to do flowers there? What kind of soil is there? Is it drainage? Is someone going to be elected to do the watering? Is it going to be the city? All the details about maintaining it, aside from just seeing that little green area. And the same thing for Sono. So I think this is it's an impactful statement within the neighborhood. Can we make it as attractive as possible and as green as possible? So I don't know the answer, Sarah. I know you don't know the answer to it. So I think the only one who can give us feedback is to set up a meeting with him. I have him come in and address the committee. What do you think?
Yeah, so I touched base with TMP, and there's nothing new beyond the design and the information that's on the website. So for right now, I would say regarding the Richards Ave roundabout, all the comments have been relayed, both by you, Gay, when you were in the public information session, and
Right.
then I've followed up with Ben Young on those comments. So
Okay.
I would suggest you all wait for the landscape plan to come as they get further along in the design, and then there can be kind of more specific comments that come out of that in regards to the
Okay.
factors that you just talked about, soil
Okay.
spacing, species selection.
Okay.
The Sono School roundabout. So what's great is Paul, who previously staffed this commission, was basically the city forester, even though he's a senior civil engineer. So now that we have an urban forestry team, which includes myself, the tree warden, and Paul Sotnick in engineering, as well as the supervisor of the DPW tree crew, we're all able to communicate and stay on the same page and have more kind of checks and balances and stay in the know on what's going on between capital projects on the ground and operations, things like that. So I checked in with Paul about the permitting for any tree work on the Sono School roundabout. So phase 1 of that project is the berm removal, which is that really very, very tall old train tracks retaining wall right off of, I guess, Meadow Street. So that is phase 1. So the Transportation, Mobility and Parking Department is going through the normal permitting requirement as we have internally. So they have a tree removal and tree restoration plan. And that's again meeting the inch per inch diameter replacements in accordance with the ordinance. So the berm removal is the only part of phase 1. Phase 2 will be the rest of the project. So the actual physical roundabout, the realigning of the road, sidewalks, tree planting, etc. So that's where that is at right now.
If I may ask, what is the timetable for that?
I am not sure when that actual construction may begin. I believe the project was just awarded.
Okay.
In answer to your question, David, I do know that the Richards Avenue, they said it would be with the starting the selection of the greenery would be spring 2026, which is now. So I thought they'd be a little bit further along, but I understand that they can't always meet the timetable. I just wanted to stay on top of it, so it
Yeah,
doesn't sort of
sure.
get beyond our input, because sometimes that happens when they do these major projects, construction projects. But to Sarah's point, it's better now than it was before by staying in contact with everyone else and having everyone's input. So hopefully
Before it's too late.
it's too late. And I think we can kind of learn from the Richards Avenue and moving ahead to the Sono School roundabout. So what we learn this time, we can apply to the next upcoming roundabout.
Yeah, that's what the nurse is there.
Oh, it was a nurse. So Sarah, when you say that the Sono contract was just awarded, is that the design contract or the construction contract?
From way you look both berm removal.
I know the mother's definitely very sick.
Sorry, Sonia. Wait.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That phase one berm removal construction was just awarded, is my understanding.
Okay. Okay. But the rest of it is, it's through design or it's still
In
under
design.
design? Oh, okay.
Okay. All right, Sarah, so was there anything else you wanted to add onto the city projects?
That's my updates.
Okay. So let's move on to April events. There's the Arbor Day celebration at Fox Run Elementary Friday. You know, I was there for the very first one. That's how long ago it was. So for the new people on the team, we do an Arbor Day celebration at all the elementary schools throughout the city of Norwalk, and there's a rotation. I think the first one started was at Fox Run, which is here in West Norwalk. It's been through a couple of years now at this stage. So it's a fun way to get the principal and the school children involved in the elementary school. They can do all kinds of creative ideas about celebrating what a tree is, and they do poetry, they'll write plays, they draw paintings of it. And then there's a contest. Sarah, have you been picking out the winner lately? Have you been doing that?
I'm too biased, Gay.
Oh, okay.
But we do a poster contest, yes.
Okay. Well, that's always fun to do also. And then so whoever wins, they used to give a nice little prize to them. It used to be the parents used to get a hotel break. I don't think they do that anymore, and Doubletree used to support it. So they celebrate it, and what's really nice about it is they select a tree, and then they go and they actually plant the tree. All the students come out, and the parents are invited to watch the children celebrate the planting of a tree and read their stories and their poetry or show their paintings, whatever it is. So everyone gets a good education about the value of a tree and have a lot of fun doing it. So this year it's on Friday on April 24th. Are you going to be there, Sarah?
Yep. So we've been planning this with the principal. We're going to be planting a tree in the courtyard at Fox Run where they have some community gardens and chickens, actually, which is really
Oh,
cool.
that's new. Okay.
And any of you folks are invited. It's usually any local orgs like the Tree Alliance attend, but the kids get really excited. I think they're doing a little song this year.
Nice.
As Gay said, there's a poster contest, so every single grade gets to participate, and then we vote on some winners. And this year, the prize is a little tree plushie with an inspirational little quote on it.
Okay. What are they getting?
Time is it?
What time is it? This year it's at 9 a.m. So we're
Yeah.
starting right off in the morning. It's a little tree plushie, like a little stuffed,
Oh, it's stuffed toward.
yeah, with an
Nice.
inspirational quote on it. So,
Okay. That sounds lovely.
and then we'll be giving out seedlings for
Seedling?
each student and each teacher. Will get a little tree seedling. They usually come in a little black bag with care instructions, but
And
that's been
what tree and seedlings are we giving out this year?
not sure yet. I have to
Okay.
talk to the contractors, but yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's really nice. Okay. And they put
And
out chairs. So if David or Amy, if I know 9 o'clock in the morning is tough, but if you want to go there, it doesn't usually last more than 45 minutes to an hour.
Oh, sounds great.
It is nice.
yeah, I mean, I have two kids at Fox Run, so I think
Oh,
I'll try and
Oh.
attend.
So
oh, great. Oh, good.
Also, if you mean by we judging anything, I would probably have to excuse myself
Oh,
from judging.
that's nice. So you
Yeah.
have probably been involved in it to some degree.
They haven't said anything, but yeah, they're in second and fifth grade.
Oh, definitely. They've been
So
reach
yeah,
out to all the classes. That's
maybe
nice.
they're keeping it a surprise.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
And they select the tree yet, Sarah? What's going in?
not yet.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to so Earth Day on the Green is Saturday, 4/25. what time is that starting? Do you, uh,
I don't have that in front of me,
Okay.
Jay, but I was going to ask if the commission would like to table this year.
yes, I will do that. Just let me know the time. Um, and so you're going to order some tree seedlings for me to hand out?
I think if you all would like to come up with your activity, if you'd like to have an informational brochure or something,
Yes. You want me to
you all let me know like what you would like to do.
Okay. Would anyone like to join me at the table?
Sure, I'll do it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I should be able to for some. I believe it's 12 to 4. I think I just saw something. We want to confirm that, but
I think you're right about that. So that would be great. So it's just meeting the public and explaining what we do, handing out the tree seedlings and brochures, information that we give, and getting them to see if they want a tree planted in the residence so we can have them fill out the form and then give us the form directly. That's always a great way to get people involved in it. And just it's all about, I think, David, you were concerned about community outreach. This is a great way to do it, to talk to the people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep. So if you all let me know anything you'd like printed,
Okay.
we do have some budget to be able to do seedlings. So what seedlings you'd like, if you want to do a giveaway, just let me know what you need aside from a tablecloth. I have that and the banner.
And you have the banner in the back?
No, we need a new banner. Okay.
What happened to the banner?
It's the tree advisory committee banner.
Oh, oh,
But
okay.
yeah, just let me know what materials you want, and then I can go ahead and fill out the link with the Earth Day committee to
Okay.
get
It was a big thing. We finally got a giant banner in the back. Sarah and I worked it out. That is big enough, and we still had slits in it for the wind to go through because we always kept having windstorms. But it says the Tree Advisory Committee, and we're now the Urban Forest, a commission. All right. So do you have money to get a new banner, or is that going to have to come out of the tree budget?
I'll check. I'll check on that.
Okay, I'll take your word for that one. Okay, great. All right, so maybe I'll just send around an email about my thoughts and getting David's thoughts and Amy's thoughts on it, and Sonia's thoughts. Okay, is that all right? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And then discuss the potential Arbor Day cleanup event. So this is the City of Norwalk cleanup event we're talking about.
So this is the tree advisory committee. Previously, I think last year was our third annual Arbor Day cleanup. That Rich Whitehead, previous member of tree advisory committee, who also worked for Hutchinson, put together where local tree companies would donate, half a day's work with their crew to be able to do some volunteer tree pruning, vine removal, just overall stewardship and maintenance in an area of the city that we normally can't really get to. So in the past few years, it's been along the NRVT, and we've gotten permission from
The Norwalk River Trail, right? The Norwalk, right.
So that I was just floating to see if that's something that the commission would do without Rich on the committee. I just want to make sure I can help arrange with DPW and Eversource, but we would need folks to reach out to some of the local tree companies and coordinate a little bit.
So I'm going to suggest, since I'm not an official arborist, and we have two wonderful members on our team now that really are more professional about that, David and Amy. So perhaps it would work better for coming from them. So Sarah, what do you think? And they can say that they're part of the Norwalk Commission, and maybe they can speak their language.
Up to you all in your capacity this year. It's short notice with when the commission, is up and running. So if there's
When is this day happening?
normally it's around the time of Arbor Day and Earth Day, so that last week or so in April.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a short timetable.
Yeah, it is. Well, we can talk about that. I can talk with Amy about that if she doesn't mind.
yeah,
So
we can talk about that.
just see if it's feasible or if it's just something we have to do another time. So Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, so we move on to the public outreach and education. Um, so Sarah, I see that you sent along the tree selection guide for the adopted tree request. So this is an actual physical guide that you can print out when we meet the people that do the tree request. I just kind of put it in a binder and put together a little information about it. So these are the trees that are now available for residents to select. I do have one comment
Yeah,
on,
can I share my screen, Gay? Is that okay?
I'm sorry?
Can I share my screen with a
Yes,
copy?
yes, absolutely.
And this is just a draft copy that our intern last summer finished. So
Did a great job.
the edits and the final, can you all see that?
Oh, yeah.
Final copy is TBD, final species TBD, but sorry, go ahead, Gay.
No, I think you did an excellent job, is what I wanted to say. I just had one question um, about one of the trees. What is it? The golden mane?
Golden Rain.
The golden rain. That's it.
Let me see.
Um,
That's in the small.
I also found a typo, but I can't remember where it was, but I'll look for it again.
I'm sure there are a couple. Please do.
No, I only found one. And
Here it is. So I use the Morton Arboretum as a reference tool for me and the Stanford Arboretum for questions. And so the golden rain is been determined to be invasive and it's no longer recommended to be planted in city schools or parks or anything else because they say it self-seeds. What are your thoughts on that?
I haven't really heard that much. This is a very common tree that is planted as a street tree in urban areas. I would kind of want to ask Amy your thoughts on that. But
Yeah,
very common street tree.
yeah, I would want to look into it more too. I feel like I feel like gay, I've also heard that. And like maybe that, like New York City is maybe leaning away from planting it. But yeah, I think that's worth looking into. Because
Okay.
think there might, I think I've heard that too.
Okay.
It's been a while since I've seen this one come up.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
So
In terms of the actual content and how it's broken out, I just want to point out what we've done is have this little icon to note that something's native or not, because it gets messy trying to categorize by only natives and then only small, only large. So that kind of simplifies things. The size categories over 50 feet tall seems like something that a homeowner can understand in terms of height. If you all have thoughts on the size categories, let me know. And then as well, in terms of the actual content on each page, I would love to get any feedback on what's necessary, what's not necessary, what's a little too technical. Again, this is really for when we go out to meet with homeowners and talk about what tree they might be interested in planting and owning in their yard. What would they like to know?
I think one thing about it that, and I'm not sure how you would illustrate this without sometimes scaring the heck out of people, but I don't know how many people really know what 80 feet in height is. And while I would hesitate to say, hey, it's as tall as a 8-story building, which might freak them out, if there was some other way to, communicate just how large a tree like this could be. Albeit maybe they will never reach that size. We don't, so.
So David, that's a question that I get asked a lot in meeting with the public. And the nicest way I can put this is I rattle off my age, and then I will say I will probably be long dead by the time this tree reaches its maturity. So I'm not insulting anybody. And then they get the general idea with a laugh, and it kind of calms them down, and they get a feel. Well, then I don't have to worry about it for the next 30, 40 years or something like that.
Good point.
So I'm open to other ideas of doing it. You do like to say that, and you also made a very valid point, and you and Amy would know this better than anybody else, is this in ideal situations, the tree will reach this maturity if it hasn't been cut down by the power companies or hit by a tree or disease or drought or so it's hard for these trees to have this pristine life where they can reach this maturity in an urban area for the most part.
Right.
But you
Yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, I also tend to use building stories. I think that that makes the most sense to me and the average person. But yeah, I would also say that this is it's not growing free and clear in the forest. The odds of it reaching that, yeah, ideal mature height are pretty slim.
yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Sonia, I was thinking of you when we were trying to put this together because you're very good at like translating what people thought in their minds to what actual tree might work. Because their description might be totally different than what's realistic. So
Exactly.
yeah.
I think it's very good that you do the landscape values and the additional notes. A lot of people love the fact of bees and butterflies and fragrant flowers seems to be a selling point for many of these tree lovers to begin with. So I think that's terrific that you included that.
Alright. Yeah, whatever comments you all have, feel free to just send them over my way. And I think this would be great to start using this spring. I think, Gay, we had a very simple version of this kind of last fall that you were
Right.
using, a
Right.
couple iterations, but yeah,
I'll use this one because you've gotten rid of certain trees, so this is more an updated one. Do you still have that sheet with the cost point for each tree? Because that would be good if Dave and Amy go out or Sonia certainly just keep an eye so we keep
yeah,
track of how much we're spending. Has,
yeah, I can
has
put
the
together
cost has the cost gone up?
in the new contract, certainly, because our first contract is still working off of pricing from 2021 with
Oh, wow.
option period increases.
Oh, okay.
So somewhat, it really varies by tree, which is why our contracts are each tree is its own cost, its own unit cost.
Right.
Otherwise, it'd be all over the place. So, yeah, I can do. I think Gay, what I did last time was like low cost, medium cost,
Yes,
high.
right. Right.
Um,
That would be helpful for all of us to keep an eye on it.
Mhm.
Okay.
I looked up that golden rain tree while we were talking and going back and forth, and it is an invasive tree. It also attracts bugs and it's poisonous to cats and dogs.
Mm, okay. So,
Yeah, so we should scratch that one.
mm. So maybe we can think of another one to put in its place. Does that sound good, Sarah?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think not having too many options for homeowners
Yeah,
is
but I say it wouldn't even matter if we don't put anything back. Nobody will know except us.
yeah. Or and sometimes it's overwhelming when there's too many options.
Exactly.
Yeah, like we used to have
I would,
multiple
yeah,
colors of
I would agree with that. Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Then the information booklet for events, and will it be done for Earth Day in April?
So we currently don't have any formal booklet. I know in the past, Gay, there was a pruning guide that the tree advisory committee had put together.
Right.
Um, so I think it would be a great thing for this commission to develop.
Right.
And obviously David was talking about community engagement and education. It's something that I can certainly print and help distribute. But I think that would be great. I know Gay, you had mentioned it more being centered on maintenance and how to care for your tree now that you've got the tree.
Right, because I had actually worked on that brochure a really long time ago at the time, and it was simply what to do with mulch in particular, because homeowners tend to make those volcano mulchers, and the right way to mulch a tree. I think they when you meet with them and hand them the brochure, it's helpful. And of course, trimming a tree, the correct way to do with that. And these days with the droughts going on, because I would be asked that question so many times, how much water should a tree get during a drought, and be specific, whether you're using gallons, a picture of gallons, or using a hose or something like that. It just gives them some guidance and how the soil should be moist, and, they don't overwater it, because they all want to know this, and it's a question about that. Also, it's a good thing for us to hand out on Earth Day.
Well, I have to say there are probably many organizations that have already issued booklets like this and pamphlets like this. And I wonder if maybe we could reach out to one of them, whether it's the, Connecticut Forest and Parks Association or other ones that, could we use the booklet that they make and hand that out, because I know they do pruning, caring for trees. I'm not sure that we want to reinvent the wheel
Mhm.
when some of these things already exist. So,
Do you think they would give it to us for free?
well, you certainly reach out to them. I mean, many of them are just as passionate as we are about trying to, make this happen. I have some connections at the Connecticut Forest and Parks Association because I took that Master Woodland Manager program and asked them about it. And of course, they had resources that we were receiving from the state of Connecticut, deep, all these places. So I just feel like I've seen these things go by so many times that maybe there's a way that we could, coordinate or cooperate so that we can then disseminate the same kind of information that they would like to disseminate.
I think that's a great idea. Do you want to take that project on and talk to them and
Yeah, I can
see?
check with some people there. Just as a start, anyway. I mean, I'd be surprised if the
Yeah.
United States Forestry Division didn't have some kind of brochures that they issue. Who knows?
Well, yeah, no, I agree that we don't need to reinvent a lot of this stuff. The ISA has a lot of information too, and I'm an ISA member, so I'll look and see what they have that's, downloadable for this sort of thing. Public education. I have to confess that I haven't really done this a lot of like public education in my work, so I'm a little bit. I'm the one that's probably going to get overly technical, and you guys can tell me to stop talking too technical. But I'll look and see what ISA has in terms of this sort of communications.
Okay.
Right. Okay, good. So ideas for community engagement.
Okay.
I have,
So, and I'm afraid I'm going to have to go in about 2 minutes, but I had an idea, and I went to a school, Vassar College, that the campus is an arboretum, and you brought up arboretums before. And so there are many trees that are, have a plaque or whatever that tells you what kind of tree it is. Now, I live in East Norwalk. There's a lot of foot traffic in East Norwalk of people walking up and down the streets and getting their steps in, and lots of trees that are lining these places. And I'm wondering if we could have some sort of tree ID program where people could ask us or someone to identify the tree and maybe pay for some kind of plaque or identification that would say, this is a sugar maple, blah, 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 or something. And maybe it would even have a QR code on it, or it'd have our logo on it. Not that we actually have a logo yet, but if we had a logo. And just to sort of create more of an awareness of the trees around us. And at the campuses of, Connecticut State College over in Norwalk, or wherever we're putting trees or people are passing by, to try and help identify these trees and just make people more aware of, you know, of the trees. If that makes any sense to anybody.
yes, it does. Do
Yeah.
we have some of that, don't we, in Cranberry Park, Sarah, on a few trees?
Believe the Tree Alliance has a couple. I know there's like a few at Calf Pasture,
Right.
Cranberry.
Oak Hills also
Yeah.
some.
But they're few and far between, I would think.
Right. Yes, they are. And to your
Sure.
point, it would be wonderful to have more of it.
So anyway,
Yeah,
it's something we
I
can
agree.
discuss. Sorry, go ahead, Sarah.
No, the only thing I would add is a potential QR code could lead to, we're hoping to get the tree inventory publicly available so that the QR code could lead to a map of the inventory software where you can click on that point and see the tree species and size and things like that. So just kind of seeing where that could go. I think that's
Right.
a great idea.
Yeah, it's nice.
Mhm.
Very nice.
Okay. I'm afraid I have to run. So was there anything else we were going to talk about?
I think so. I think we'll just follow up on a few emails and I think that's it. But anyway,
Cool.
have a good evening.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Talk
you.
to you soon.
Okay.
Okay. And Amy, you and I will talk about, that crazy project that would have to be done in 2 weeks, but whatever.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay. Thank you. Talk to you
Thank you.
later.
All right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Great meeting.
Thanks.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Do we want to add on anything else? Amy, Sonia, anything?
I don't have any new business.
Okay. Sonia?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. All right. So, Sarah?
Apologies, I was trying to close out of my screen share items. Go ahead, Gay.
All right. All right. So adjourn it. Say goodnight.
You need
Mhm.
a motion to adjourn?
Yes,
Motion to
please.
adjourn. Yes. This to be formal. Yes. Good night.
Have a good night.
Aye.
All right.